Good afternoon. I've got my tea here. Now, I've been in the cottage for a wee bit longer than what I had planned, and it's now 4:20, so it's staying light now until about about 5:30, 5:45. So I've managed to get a wee bit stoned, put over in the tunnel, so that's my next task, which I'm going to do, and get my wheelbarrow up from the fairy wood first. But I was just sat here sort of relaxing because I had to change my clothes. I'd got very wet around my back and my neck. So I've sort of warmed up a wee bit now. So I'm just sitting and enjoying my tea. So I was having a look at some of the correspondence I've got on my laptop. Please forgive me if it takes a while for me to respond. I try to get round to everything eventually. But this is a very interesting email and I just wanted to share it with you. I'm not going to say who it's from. And if the person who wrote it wants to make a comment, and kind of say it's from them, that's fine. But it's a very interesting perspective on goddess permaculture. And the reason why I'm reading it out is because this particular person has articulated in simple terms what goddess permaculture is and the difference between goddess permaculture and permaculture. I'll just have a wee sip of tea. So I'm just going to read it out in its entirety. Dear Colette, I received your book on Bealtaine Cottage at the end of last year within 5 days. Quick, in brackets. And read it in 2 days, even quicker. Smiley face. Thank you. You are an inspiration for doing, in inverted commas, and gave me food for thought as well. With your approach of intuition and magic, in brackets female, letting nature take the lead, you add an important perspective to the male, in inverted commas, approach, which seems to be very present in the permaculture movement. The male approach is primarily fascinated by the efficiency, in inverted commas, of nature, learning from her by identifying her principles and trying to imitate and use, in inverted commas, them. I listened to some Bill Mollison lectures on YouTube lately. His ideas are certainly intelligent. I still was not completely happy with them because it was an engineer's approach only. Asking questions like, how much energy do you put into a system and how much can you get out of it? It's all about efficiency and doing as little as possible for as much output as possible. Although he is respecting the principles of nature and he understands that by working against her we will not prosper, still it is all about the engineer and his prosperity. What I love about your approach is that you care for nature and the life in her first and put yourself second. You allow yourself to be moved by her in action. Without asking for profit, you experience her abundance. Goddess permaculture, not the permaculture of an engineer. I admire that and your approach. It feels right to me, and I start into the garden year 2019 with a new spirit. That was very interesting to read for me, because it did kind of nail it in many ways. It nailed why I moved from permaculture to what I chose to call goddess permaculture, because it is all about putting her, with a capital H, the great goddess, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever name you want to give to this sentient being, it's all about putting her first. She is central to everything. And if you put her first, then you come second. And that's how it should be, because without her, we don't exist. That's why I try to create habitat for all life. That's why I feed the birds. That's why I choose to plant as many trees as I have done. That's why I try to have as much biodiversity here as possible. It's about being mindful at all times that she comes first. That's why I got rid of my flush toilet and have a compost toilet. That's why I don't be overly tidy around Bealtaine Cottage gardens. There are so many reasons for turning towards goddess permaculture, because it really is about time that we put her first. Everything that's gone wrong on our beautiful earth has been because we have continually diminished her. All economics is predicated on taking as much from Mother Earth as one can take, without any thought to her, to helping her keep things balanced. And it certainly is no mystery that we have reached this point where we are now suffering extreme weather, because she's out there trying to balance herself. It's a very interesting perspective to see what has got the potential to be an incredible movement focus so much on the engineering aspects of dealing with a living sentient being. It really is the problem with science, the problem with life, the problem with economics, the problem with how we treat Mother Earth, how we treat the environment, how we treat the animals that we farm. It's this view of Descartes and science split. I think it was in the 18th century where humankind decided to go with the views of Descartes, and I suggest that you Google or put into your search engine what Descartes believed. I think it's Descartes. I'm sure that you'll find links, and it makes for some very interesting reading. And I suppose just in essence, Descartes' view of the world and the universe was that it was all mechanical. And that's just putting it crudely, that everything was mechanical, robotical. And in fact, the present day factory farming is predicated on that view, that animals don't have any feelings, that everything is robotical and is there just to be harvested. So it's just very interesting. So anyway, just food for thought on this Saturday coming up to evening. Blessings to you all.